Okay, good morning. On behalf of Texas Motor Speedway, welcome to NASCAR race weekend here at Texas. We appreciate everyone being here today and through the weekend. Please feel free to let us know if you need anything. Myself and my folks are strategically positioned on the back row over there, and we have our backs to you. That's not trying to tell you all anything, but just don't sneak up on us. But we are here to make sure you all have a good weekend, and certainly Mike Zizzo and his staff, first class all the way. We're going to start off our media availability. We have a good day lined up for you. Joey Logano won this race back in, I believe, April. Actually won it on a Monday. And but Joey's back to the scene where he is going to try to repeat, I'm sure. He's the driver of the number 22 AAA Insurance Ford for Team Penske. Joey is one of the 8 drivers in the Eliminator round, vying to punch his ticket to Homestead, Miami. And so, Joey, just talk about your efforts here this weekend. I know you're running double duty in the nationwide race as well, but talk about your outlook here this weekend at Texas.
Do the same thing we did in the spring. That's the goal. It's anytime you come back to a racetrack that you were able to win in the spring race, and obviously brings a little bit of added confidence. We tested here a few weeks ago, getting ready for this, knowing that this is going to be an important race to try to get us to Homestead. We're lucky we had a good finish last week with a top 5, but it doesn't set you up as well as you want to be, knowing there's only 3 races here. So we got to be able to come out of here with at least a top 5 finish, and hopefully get that win again. So all starts here in a couple hours from practice starts, and trying to tune our AAA Fusion in as good as we had it in the spring.
Questions now for Joey. We've got a couple of wireless mics. We'll start right here with, is it George? George, and we'll go over here to Bob, and then we'll go to Dean. We'll get to everybody best we can.
George Winkler with NASCAR.com. Joey, as a driver, high in the standings at this point, are you going to stay aggressive, or are you just going to try not to make a mistake?
I'm going to stay doing what we've been doing. What we've done all year, even before the chase started. We've raced the same way. We've raced aggressive. We've put ourselves in the offensive mode, no matter what the situation was. And we saw it again last weekend. We took 4 tires there. With a green-white checker, and we started 13th and went to the aggressive mode and got up to 5th. So, that's the mode we should stay in, because that's what's been working. It's not the time to reinvent the wheel. It's just time to polish the wheel a little bit and make sure we stay out there and keep doing what we're doing, just doing a little better job at it.
We'll go over here to Bob Pockris and then to Dean McNulty. Bob?
Bob Parker, Sporting News. Is there a certain number of point spread that you'd feel kind of comfortable if you had it on like 3rd or 4th leaving this race?
No. I really, after watching the last round, I thought Kyle would have been a lock before Talladega. And then, watching what happened to him, I don't think you ever feel comfortable unless you got a win under your belt. So, that's why we want to be able to get one of those. That's the only way you're going to feel comfortable. If not, you're going to be pulling your hair out all the way till the end of Phoenix. So, and then obviously you got Homestead, which is obviously the biggest race of the year. So, we got to be able to execute like we've been. And like I said, the only way we're going to feel comfortable is if we win the race.
We'll go to Dean, then we'll go to George Diaz, and then Alan Cabana. Get the mic over here. Lawrence, thank you.
Dean McNulty, Toronto Sun. You're 3 points out of 5th place. So, things are close. Is there even any discussion in the Penske shop about you working with the 2 this weekend, or the 2 working with you? Or at this stage of the chase, is that every man for himself?
No, we'll work together like we have all year. We've I feel like as a team, we're closer than anybody. I feel like that's our strength at Team Penske, that the 2 of us can work very well together, not just the drivers, but the whole team, both the 2 and the 22, and everyone at the shop works together very well. And I think that's that's our biggest strength. So we can't afford to stop doing that. Like I said a minute ago, don't reinvent the wheel. Don't change what you're doing. just try to make it better at what you've been doing. So we're not going to, bail on being teammates at this point in the season, that's for sure.
We'll go to, I believe it's George. Raise your hand, George. George, Allen, and then Kenny Bruce.
Yeah, Joey, right here in front of you. George Diaz, Orlando Sentinel. You talked about, not having to reinvent the wheel, but with the dynamics of the chase and the new format, have you had to kind of tweak that formula in terms of reinventing the wheel as opposed to the driving style and the strategy in previous seasons?
Well, I was told today that we'd have a 40-something point lead if it was last year's point system. That part breaks my heart a little bit because we're third in points right now. So, kind of doing what we've done last year, or if it was last year, doing what we're doing right now would have worked great. But, really, if you're consistent in the top 5 like we've been this whole chase, you'll make it to Homestead. So that's why I say just keep doing what we've been doing, because what we've been doing has been good enough to get us there. So really, I mean, consistency does still pay off. You see, a couple guys in this deal, it doesn't have a win yet this year. So consistency definitely pays off, but the wins make you feel a lot more comfortable. So you try to get those when you can also, but it's not worth, completely ruining your day and going for a win when you have a solid second or third place finish. You take that. But if the opportunity is there and you weigh out the consequences, right, and the risk versus reward, you go for that win if you can.
Do you like the new system with the amped up intensity, if you will?
Yeah, I mean, it stresses you out. I promise you that. It's definitely, every time you get comfortable for a couple races, we've been fortunate enough to have a win in each of these rounds so far, and not yet this one though. But you get those, and it's like, okay, I can relax for a race or two, and just do your thing. Now it's that stress levels up because you can't get too far ahead in 3 races. Or feel comfortable enough that you're locked into in the next round in 3 races. So that stress levels up through each race for sure, for everybody. It's just a matter of how you deal with it, because it's about the same for everyone. It's just whether you use it for a good thing or if it destroys you.
Go to Alan Cabana, then Kenny Bruce, then Mark Garrow.
Alan Cabana, NASCAR.com. We've heard all year how the cars kind of evolved, the new ride height rules and stuff. So just how much has changed since the first Texas, and do you still have an advantage, you think, or has a lot changed since then?
Yeah, I'm sure something changed, right? Because, it was a long time ago since we've been here, so the cars have developed quite a bit. But like I said, we tested here and kind of had an idea of some of the things we went through. And, probably not a whole bunch. At the same time, we're going to, look for the same things in the car that worked for as a driver. When you run well here, you kind of understand, okay, this is what I'm going to need when the race starts, and you can work on that a little bit more in practice. And I think both Todd and myself understand that a little better after the spring race. And we'll be able to work on that in practice some more. And I think that's a good thing. That's a nice advantage to have. But besides that, hopefully it's all similar. See, it's windy out there today. I'm sure that'll play in effect quite a bit.
Go to Kenny Bruce, Mark Garrow, Marty Smith.
Kenny Bruce with NASCAR.com. Along those lines, Joey, there are a number of tracks that you guys race at twice a year. You go to Daytona twice. You go to Richmond, Bristol, Dover, Pocono, places like Michigan. What's the bigger difference? The track changes, or as you were talking about, how much the car has evolved from when you were there earlier?
It depends on the track we go to, because sometimes the temperature is quite a bit different from the spring race to the fall race, and you see a little bit of different trends and stuff like that. And probably one of the biggest differences, you look at Kansas. Kansas 1 to Kansas 2, how different that race went. Everyone was fighting for the bottom in the spring, and in the second race, someone's running against the wall. It's a little bit of temperature really changed all that. So I think the temperature swing probably has a bigger difference than anything. But when you look at racetracks that are really far apart in the season, you look at Phoenix coming up next week. Was it the second race of the season this year? And it's the second to last race? Something like that. Maybe third race. I don't know. It's something like that. It's a long ways apart from each other, especially this year with the new ride height package. that's going to be completely different than what we ran in the spring because we've evolved a lot over the past few months. Racing at all these different types of racetracks, so that's going to be a pretty big swing, different than what we've had. But it's kind of interesting to see where you were then to where you are now. That'd be kind of fun to look at the setups and look at what's different. A little bit. Maybe not as much, but probably some. I mean, everyone was still developing their packages at this point quite a bit and trying different things, and people were using up tests and stuff like that, trying to figure it out early in the season.
Let's go with Mark Garrow, Marty Smith, and then over here to Jerry. Raise your hand, Mark Garrow.
Mark Garrow, PRN. Joey, how would you describe the pressure that you're feeling going into this race and as you move on in the chase right now?
Yeah, you feel it. Like I said, you feel the pressure. It's there, and it's there for everyone. And it's probably pretty equal for everyone. And maybe everyone's got a different game plan. Maybe some guys have to win. Some other guys just have to have a consistent finish. But either way, there's pressure to that, right? And so, yeah, it's there. I feel like I'm doing a good job handling it, and I think my whole team is. When that pressure's on, not only for the driver, but you think about the pit crew and the guys working on your car day to day, thinking about one mistake keeps you from winning this championship. That's pressure for sure. Those guys going over the wall, and you're in position to win the race, and you come down pit road, and one missed lug nut changes the whole outcome of your year. That's pressure, and I feel like this 22 teams handle that great so far, and I'm not nervous about it at all. Thinking about the pressure and really thinking about it just makes you more nervous. So it's not really the right way to go. You just kind of focus on your race car and in the job at task.
Let's go to Marty Smith, over here to Jerry, and then to Drew. Raise your hand, Marty. Let's get the mic over there.
By the way, Alan, where'd you get those socks? Look at those things. Holy cow.
I think he lost a bet.
I think so.
Go ahead, Marty.
Wow.
You should see them. You can't see them from over there.
Sounds as if I'd rather not.
You need some sunglasses for those things.
Marty Smith, ESPN. Joey, you've had one of the fastest cars all year. So has Harvick. He's at the bottom now, right? Because he had an issue at Martinsville. He wants to pay Matt back, he said last weekend. Don't know where he stands right now with that. But here's my question. When you know that you've made speed all year long with a car that can win, here, Phoenix, they're capable. How little can he afford payback at this time when you know you have cars that can win? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's up to him.
Yeah.
Not up to me. I'm going to focus on my own deal, but you gotta look at the big picture sometimes, and sometimes the big picture isn't easy to look at, and you want to look at the small picture and what you want to do at that moment. And I'm sure once you have a few days to cool your jets and be able to kind of regroup and look at things, your opinion changes, and sometimes you. I'm not saying he said the wrong thing or did anything different that he wants to change his mind or not now. I don't know. It's not up to me. But I know for me personally, when something happens, sometimes at maybe the heat of the moment, I say something that I probably wouldn't have said if I thought it through a little bit more or I reacted the wrong way. And I think that's natural, and the way some people handle that stuff different than others, and I think it's just a personality thing. But I know for me, after I have a couple days to cool off, and I can look at the big picture and understand what I have to do when I come to the racetrack the next weekend. And sometimes that's looking at the small picture still. Sometimes you got to look at the big picture. It just kind of depends on the situation.
Let's go to Jerry, Drew, and then to Nate Ryan.
Jerry Fraley with the Dallas Morning News. I know in each of the first two rounds, it appeared to be a huge increase in intensity from race 1 to race 2. When you went to New Hampshire, when you went to Charlotte, this is race 2 in this round. A, have you noticed that? And B, any idea what might be driving it? A sense you don't want to go that third race in a bind?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think people kind of knowing, you got to get through this first 2 races with something decent to feel halfway comfortable and feeling like you don't have to win going into the next round. And when something happens to make you feel like, man, you get something taken away from you or something happened, I think that, there's so much on the line that the emotions escalate really quick and the tempers fly. And, yeah, it's fun for everyone to watch.
Let's go to Drew, Nate Ryan, and then Lee Spencer.
Joey, Drew Davidson with the 4-Star Telegram. I know you've talked about it before, but why do you think Team Penske has been so strong this year, and what would it mean if you guys are able to add a Cup championship as well as an Indy car?
Yeah, we're going for a couple more championships, going for the Nationwide Owners Championship also along with the Cup one here. So, yeah, that would be a dream season for sure. It's already been a dream season for us in the 22 car, and with a lot of top 5s and 5 wins, and but we're not stopping there. We want more. We want to get Roger that Sprint Cup championship trophy, and that's why I said we're both still working together, both teams. We're both doing everything we can to make that happen, and we're all working together to try to win that owners championship too. And what makes us strong is people. Everyone can buy the same tools and same equipment. It's the people you have running those tools that makes a difference. Everyone can buy a 9/16 wrench, but not everyone turns it the same way. And I think that's the difference. The people back at the shop, people that come to the racetrack, the way we all communicate, the way we do our jobs as professional as we can, and the best we can. I think that's the difference. Between teams, and there's always areas to improve on for sure, and that's true with every team, I'm sure. But that's to me, I think what makes a great race team is the people, because we all can buy the tools.
Take 3 more questions. Nate Ryan, Lee Spencer, Jim Utter.
Nate Ryan, USA Today Sports. Joey, when you talk about staying on offense and always taking 4 tires, the win you had here in April where you had the green-white checker and you still came down and took 4 tires, did that kind of cement that strategy? And was that a moment in the season where that the team sort of realized this is the way to go, this is the way to play it for us?
It worked that day for sure, and each racetrack's different. Martinsville, I mean, it's a gutsy call. Even at the end of it, I talked with Todd and was like, that was a gutsy call. If we started 14th instead of 13th or 12th instead of 13th, that made a completely different deal. We wouldn't have finished 5th. So there's so much to weigh out in such a short amount of time to make those calls. And, Todd's done a great job at calling them. I'm not saying 4 tires is our call every time, but I do personally rather be on the offense instead of the defense. I feel like I'm a better driver on the offense. I think Todd understands that. I think we build our cars to be aggressive and be able to put cars in a tough spot, and our cars handle well to do that stuff. So we can take advantage of that. But does that mean 4 tires is always the aggressive call? No, 2 tires a lot of times is the aggressive call that gets you up there. So it just it depends on the moment and the racetrack and the whole situation.
Let's go with Lee Spencer, Jim Utter, and we'll try to fit in Tom Jensen.
Lee Spencer, Motorsport.com. Can you talk about what you concentrated on at Homestead, Miami during the test this week? And growing up as a kid, you knew you wanted to race, but did you ever let your imagination go and think, what would it be like to win a Sprint Cup championship?
I never have up to recently. I feel like we've got a really good shot at it. I've never been in this position before. We made the chase last year, but at this point we're out of it. This time we got a good shot. And there's 8 cars that still got a good shot, which is the hard part, right? That's the tough part. Is so many guys that can still win this thing, and you can be knocked out of it so quick. But when you're in Homestead, obviously you think about the race and how it's going to play out, and hey, if everything went well, how it would be, and it's hard not to let your mind go that way a little bit, but you have to stay focused on the task at hand, of course. And we focused on making our car fast, right? You're finding raw speed. I mean, that's the big thing when you go to a test, right? And then when you go to a race, you take that speed and you try to execute the race. And I think we found a couple things. I think it's key to be able to have a car that can go from the top to the bottom there. We focused a lot on trying to get our car fast on the long run, whether that was on the bottom or the top. And that's a challenge there for sure, because when you run the wall there, you're right up against it, and it's neat. It's a lot of fun. It's hairy as heck, but it's a lot of fun to do it, and to be able to run that long of a race up against it and not touch it. I think that's going to take some amazing concentration, along with everything that's going to be going on in that race. You got to be able to stay focused, and I think. Execution is going to be the name of the game there. Having a fast car is a big deal, but I think everyone execute and then not letting pressure get to them will be the guy who wins the championship.
Two more, Jim Utter and then Tom Jensen.
Jim Utter, Charlotte Observer. When Brad was doing his Chase Across America thing before the chase started, he said if I had to pick a couple other people besides himself who he thought might be at Homestead, you and Jeff Gordon were the first two people that came to mind. And here we are, a couple races away, and both of you are sitting in good position. When you look back at this season and why your team, all the reasons your team thinks has a good chance to win a championship, how much did a role in your performance on the intermediate tracks play in making you all feel that way as you close the season down?
We've been strong at the intermediate racetracks, but a lot of our wins came from short tracks. At Bristol and Richmond, and being able to win those smaller racetracks. I think that was kind of a surprise to me. That we have speed at a lot of different types of racetracks, and Loudon too, also. So I think we've won at racetracks this year that haven't been very good for me in the past, that's awesome. When you can kind of conquer those tracks that are big challenges for you, that makes you feel great and makes you feel confident about anywhere you go. But also having that 1.5 mile speed, 2 mile racetrack speed, we had that last year. It seems like that kind of plays into our motors. I think our motor package is better on the bigger tracks with the higher RPMs. I feel like we've done a lot of work on trying to get them better on the short tracks, and that's shown this year. And I think kind of the way we've, Todd and I have been able to communicate and understand what makes us good in the race. I think that's been something very important for us to understand that, and we see speed come from that in the race, not so much in practice. And I think that's something good to understand that both of us get, and having that chemistry. I think those are the big things that I think has made us fast at not just intermediate racetracks, but really short tracks everywhere we go. Having that team that's behind you, and we're all on the same page and understand what we need to go fast. I think that's important.
Final question, Tom Jensen.
Hi, Joey. Tom Jensen, FoxSports.com. When you look at the list of the other 7 guys in contention, is there somebody that you and Todd look at and go, we're going to have to beat him to win this championship?
There's 7 other guys we're going to have to beat one way or another. There's some that are stronger than others right now, but that all can change. Within one race, it can be completely different. Like Jim said, you look at the 24, you look at the 4 car, you look at the 2 car as some of the fastest guys right now that are still in this thing, but you never know. I mean, look at Newman's Mr. Consistency. He, and Matt, those guys, they typically don't make mistakes, and you're typically very consistent, and that's why they're here, right? And that's equally as important as winning a race. Obviously, that's what's got them here in the same boat as we're in after winning races. So, everyone is someone you have to look at, maybe for different reasons, though. Some guys are fast, and you're looking at them for race wins, but some people just execute races well and get great finishes out of having a so-so car with speed. And having all that to put together is going to be the guy that wins this whole thing, right? Is the guy that can have a fast car and execute. And that's what we're going to try to do with the 22 car.
Joey, thank you for coming in. Good luck this weekend.
All right. Thank you, guys.